My name is Christina. I am a 32 years old who is an office worker. My husband, David, is 30 years old who is also an office worker, and we got married 2 years ago. David seems a little unreliable, but he is a very kind and independent person who can handle household chores without problems. I am the breadwinner of the house and find it rewarding to work hard and make many accomplishments at work. My workplace is located in the city, and my work is performance-based pay. There's a chance of relocation, and I've never heard of anyone taking maternity or paternity leave. Since it is customary for female employees to leave the company when they get married or have children, I had no intention of getting married in the first place because I preferred working in the office than doing housework. Therefore, when David proposed to me to marry him, I told him, I love my job, and even though I'm still the section chief now, I still want to move up. I just can't picture myself getting married, starting a family, having children, and rejected his proposal once. However, David said and promised me that we will share the household chores and will not have any children. Since he said and made that promise, I gave in and I decided to marry my husband. We both work, and although we don't always share the household chores as promised, I think we're doing well together. My in-laws tell me to prioritize family over work and ask me when I am going to get pregnant and have children, but to do that, David defends me, so I don't have to worry about it. Life with my husband is comfortable for me, and I have come to think that married life is not that bad, but it is actually a good life. Then one day, I received a call from my immediate supervisor, the general manager, and was ordered to be transferred to a branch office.
What do you think about it? The place of work is a local branch office, but I will make sure to have you transferred back to the head office after 2 years. At the new location, you will be assigned to the same position as you are now, as a section chief, and if you keep up your great performance, you will be promised of a promotion when you return. If everything goes well, you will be the first female general manager in our company. I don't think this is a bad offer for you.
In fact, I am not over-exaggerating, but it's to be said that these kind of transfer decides my future at this company, whether I will move up and get promotions or not. All of the department heads and those who have been promoted for a higher position have experienced transfers, and if anyone refuses, they end up and stay as section chiefs, or can even be demoted or be relocated to a boring branch. If this offer was made before I was married, I would have jumped at the chance without hesitation. However, since I am a married woman, I can't make this decision on my own at this once. Thank you for the offer. I personally would like to consider it positively. However, since I would like to discuss this transfer with my husband, may I come back to you after the discussion?
Oh, that is right. You are married. You can choose whether you want to be transferred alone or with your family, so go ahead and talk it over. I will be expecting a positive answer.
When I returned home from work, I told about the transfer to my husband. I am being offered for a transfer, and it seems like I might be going to the rural area. My supervisor promised me that if I worked hard for the upcoming 2 years with good results, I could come back here and get a promotion. David, if you're okay with this, I was thinking of accepting this offer. If I accepted this offer, company is offering that I alone can go or we can go together as a family, but what do you want to do? My husband looked surprised, but after thinking about it for a moment, he answered,
If you accept this offer, all of your dreams will come true, right? I already have a job I enjoy here, so I can't go with you. But please go, and don't worry about me.
With my husband's being fine with me going alone on my own, I told the company that if I was to be transferred, I would be going alone. And then I started negotiating the working conditions and other details for when I get transferred. As a result of the negotiations, the moving expenses related to the transfer will all be covered by the company. The company also will provide me with better working conditions, such as covering my fees to go back home to see David and the return back to work, which was a decisive factor in my decision to transfer to the branch office. Later, I received the formal letter of my transfer and I moved to the rural area. I was told that I could rent housing from the company at a discount, so I ended up living there. On the day of the move, my belongings had already been packed and moved by the movers, and my husband came to the airport to see me off. To David, I told him, "Thank you for seeing me off. I will call you often and come back as often as I can."
I'll be waiting for you. Don't get too comfortable just because you will be living on your own.
You too, David.
It's almost time. Take care of yourself, Christina.
Okay, I'll get going. Thus, I began my life as living on my own, alone working. I had planned to return home during the holidays or during off-work periods, but as soon as I started working at the new branch, I was facing unexpected work troubles. I can't work under a female employee.
I can't trust and count on some random stranger.
I faced a typical rural area problem. Since I was a stranger to this place, the employees couldn't trust me or count on me because they don't know me. Just because I was a stranger to this place, employees spread bad rumors about me, had my instructions ignored, and they did not help me out at all when I have asked for their support. Then, a subordinate of mine who intentionally omitted me from carrying out this project made a huge mistake. The subordinate in charge turned pale. Of course, this was my responsibility as his supervisor. I had to deal with this situation by apologizing to the customers and not only making up for the mistakes which were made, but also improve the relationship with my subordinates to gain their trust and to get to know me so they can trust and count on me more. My supervisor, who heard about this situation, could not see me like this anymore, so he called me.
I understand what you're going through right now because I have already experienced the similar situation when I got transferred myself. I know you may think the situation is unfair and unreasonable, but in such times like these, the subordinates won't accept you if you force your righteousness onto them. It is very important to communicate with them and get to know them well. Also, make horizontal relationship of equals.
With the advice of my supervisor, I began to actively spend more time with everyone in the branch office to make horizontal relationship of equals. I was not a member of any neighborhood associations, but when I learned that the company's housing was part of a neighborhood association, I joined that as well. In the meantime, I was not able to spend much time on my own, and I was unable to return to my home where my husband was waiting for me. I kept in touch with David frequently, but after a few months apart, it became difficult to reach him, even if I called him at night or sent him messages over WhatsApp.
I'm having a difficult time at work. I'm working always until late at night. I was too tired, I fell asleep.
Every time I tried to talk to him, he would say such things, and since I was busy myself, I never questioned David and just thought if that's the case, I can't do anything about it. I was trying to concentrate on my work too, so I devoted myself to my work more. Then one day, since my work calmed down and there was this long holiday coming up, I abruptly decided to return home to go see David. However, I couldn't reach David by phone or WhatsApp. Since I still have the key to the house, I returned to home without notice to surprise him. When I unlocked the door and entered our home for the first time in a while, I felt something was wrong. And then I heard,
"Chuck, welcome home. You should have told me if you were coming home early."
A woman I didn't know rushes to the front door where I was standing. The woman and I were stunned to see each other. It was the woman who opened her mouth first to break the silence.
Excuse me, who are you?"
Who are you? This is my house."
"I think you got the wrong address. Can you check the address? I live in this house."
We had an argument, so we both went outside to check the nameplate, but the nameplate hanging on the door was the one I had specially ordered, and it is custom made. Both the key and the door plate is mine. I'm sure this is my house, so I am coming in.
"Hey, what are you saying? Stop barging in my house."
Even though this woman was trying to stop me from entering, I still forcibly entered the house. Then, when I looked around inside of the house, everything has been changed, and I did not recognize the interior. Even my favorite curtain and couch were changed. In the living room, there was a photo of David and this woman at a theme park was put up on the wall, and in the kitchen, I see a pair of mug cups I have never seen before. In the bathroom, there is a toothbrush and makeup bag which definitely did not belong to me, and when I checked the bathtub, there were shampoos and conditioner which belongs to a woman that I never bought and used before. The bed sheets in the bedroom had been changed to the bed sheets I do not recognize, and the closet was full with women clothes, which I have never seen before. Actually, the closet didn't have any of my clothes, which I left behind. All of my belongings were put away in a small storage room, which indicate that my husband was cheating on me and was having an affair behind my back in our very own house. As I was in shock, I heard the front door open.
Honey, I am home. I see shoes I don't recognize. Lindsay, did you invite your friend over?
"Chuck, I'm glad you're back home early. Some random stranger just barged into our home and won't go home."
When I saw the man who the woman was calling Chuck was my husband, David. When David notices me, he said,
"What are you doing here?"
surprisingly. "David, when did you change your name to Chuck? Can you explain to me what the hell this is all about?" I asked my husband.
"What are you talking about? This is Chuck. Right, Chuck?"
Well, you see..."
David seems to not know what to say when the woman questioned him. "Lindsay, his real name is David. It is written on his driver's license. And I am his wife. I'm Christina."
"You're lying because David told me he was divorced."
David, please explain Lindsay and I everything so that we can comprehend the situation, okay?
"Since you never returned from your new workplace to see me, Christina, I was getting very lonely. Since I was so lonely, I signed up for a social networking app where I met Lindsay."
I see. Then the name Chuck is your screen name on the social networking app?
Well, that's not true. I thought it would be bad if I was discovered on this social networking app by my coworker, so I kept my last name but used false first name to meet up with her.
And then? Why did you lie about being divorced?
In Lindsay's profile, she wrote, I went to all girls from junior high school to college. I've never been with anyone. I am looking for a serious relationship, hoping to marry soon. When I read her profile, I was touched by that. So, to be with Lindsay, I told her that I was a divorcee, hinted that I was only looking for a serious relationship, and started living together with her.
What? Why would you do such a thing? Then, my husband reopened his mouth and began to justify his behavior.
It's your fault for always working and never returning to our home to come and see me, Christina. It's a man's nature to want women, so what can I do? From the beginning of our marriage, since we both worked overtime, or sometimes had to go and work even on the weekends, we've never spent enough time with each other, and now we are living separately for work, and now I don't see the point of being married to you anymore. Actually, all I ever wanted was to be relaxed at warm house where my wife will warmly welcome me home when I return from work by preparing me bath and meal.
This was a bolt from the blue for me, because I had always thought of David as a husband who understood me and my work. But that does not justify you cheating me and having an affair behind my back. What you have done is such a horrible thing. If you wanted to be in a relationship with other different women, why didn't you divorce me first and do it in the right way?
Because I love you both, and I couldn't think of breaking up with both of you.
Wouldn't you have thought that if I were to return, you could not hide any of this to me? I can't believe it that you tried to hide this from me.
What? It's your fault for breaking your promises and never returned home. If you had just kept promise and returned home, I wouldn't even think about cheating on you in the first place.
What are you saying? I already explained to you that I was having trouble and hard times at work, and there was nothing I could do about it. While David and I continued to argue, Lindsay just turned pale and stood there. Lindsay seemed to understand the situation, that she has been tricked by David, who is a married man who had no intention being in a serious relationship with her.
It was all a lie, wasn't it? You made a such fool of me. I'm leaving this house.
Lindsay, no, wait.
David tried to stop Lindsay from packing up her belongings and leaving the house, but she shook him off.
Don't you ever touch me again with those disgusting hands. I don't believe anything you say anymore.
Lindsay cursed him and left. I was completely turned off by this and decided to punish my husband. I secured all the evidence I could and brought it back to my place where I was living on my own. The first thing I did when I returned was to hire a professional investigator to find out who my husband was having an affair with. The results of the investigation revealed that Lindsay was the daughter of the CEO of a company where David's workplace gets support from. I asked my lawyer to send a content-certified letter to David's house and Lindsay's parents' house. Upon receiving the content-certified letter, my husband protested that he did not want a divorce, so I prepared myself for a long battle in court. Lindsay has contacted my lawyer and we decided to meet at his office. Lindsay came to my lawyer's office with both of her parents and bowed to me. Lindsay said,
Even though I didn't know, I am so sorry for what has happened and what you had to go through this with your husband.
My daughter is earnest, but also too naive since she has only went to all-girls school and hasn't experienced much. We were trying to arrange an arranged marriage for our precious daughter with a partner we approved of, but she herself longed to find love on her own. She met your husband without our knowledge and thought she found love, so she was up in the air without trying to get to know him properly. When we asked Lindsay who he was, she told us that he was a divorced man she met on a social networking app. We have warned her not to get involved with such a man, but she didn't listen. My daughter, who was in the La La Land, didn't listen to us and just left our house as if she was eloping. Since Lindsay realized that she was the mistress, she was in shock and blames herself for it and now seeing a therapist. We will pay you the settlement of $500,000, so please do not tell anyone about this. We are very sorry for what has happened.
Lindsay and her parents apologized sincerely. I accept your apology, but with one condition. I am preparing for a divorce, but my husband refuses to divorce me. With the condition of you cooperating with me when I go to the court for the divorce trial, please testify, then I will accept the settlement on that condition.
Fine. I will cooperate. However, my daughter is young, so I don't want her to go to court and have any record about it. I'd like to cooperate with you in other ways to punish your husband. What do you think? Fortunately or unfortunately, David's workplace is our business partner.
Thus, Lindsay and her parents and I teamed up to punish my husband. David's workplace would be accused for offending the business partner's executive, Lindsay's father, and all of this would be my husband's responsibility. In the meantime, my parents-in-laws, who were unaware of such situation, were calling my husband as usual.
Christina won't even answer our call or even return our calls. She's too focused on her work. When is she coming back? When am I going to hear the news of having grandson or granddaughter?
Mom, this is not the right timing. I actually had an affair with another woman while Christina was away for her work, and now Christina is trying to get a divorce from me.
Well, it's Christina's fault for my son to cheat because she was too focused on her work and paid no attention or didn't care for my son. Actually, you should divorce Christina, and why don't you get back together with Lindsay?
When David told his parents what happened, the in-laws thought that Lindsay's parents would have more money than I did. David's parents started taking sides with my husband, wanting him to get back with Lindsay, and they started attacking me. When David's parents called me many times and I refused to answer them, they started to call me at my work. When they couldn't get through to me over the phone at work, my in-laws stormed into my office where I was working and made a scene.
Let go of my son. Divorce him already.
It's your fault that my son cheated on you. If Lindsay and David get back together, David will be very happy, so don't interfere.
Albert, Cindy,
What are you talking about? I am the one who wants to get a divorce, but David is the one who is refusing it. Besides, Lindsay has no intention of getting back together with David anyways. After all, David tricked and betrayed Lindsay, who is the daughter of David's company's business partner's executive. Lindsay's father is pretty upset with the situation, and it seems that there will be no bright future for David at his company. As soon as the in-laws found out that David has offended his company's business partner's executive, they started sucking up to me.
Oh, I didn't know what was really going on. I guess we misunderstood. I am sorry. My son was very stupid, but he learned his lesson. You will forgive him, right?
I am not going to forgive him. How can you say such a thing? I have nothing more to say to you. Please leave. my in-laws lingered and didn't leave, so the security took them away, and because of their violent behavior, my company sued David's parents for obstruction of business. I then successfully received alimony from my husband, and we were divorced. Lindsay also requested for alimony from David and compensated for the fees of the therapist's treatment. David lost his position in the company because he had offended his business partner, and he could not quit his job because he had to pay a large amount of debt for the alimony. By the time all this was over, 2 years had passed since I was transferred. Having successfully completed my term at the branch office with high performance, I was transferred back to the head office. I worked harder than ever and got promoted to the position of general manager. If I had not accepted the offer for the transfer, I might have been still be married to my ex-husband, enjoying a married life. However, people like David would have had an affair sooner or later, and I think I would have had more conflicts with my ex-in-laws. I knew that I was meant to work rather than having a family, and right now, I am very satisfied with my life, and I am very happy about it.